Look who finally decided to show up, and that is if I can pick this up because it's a lot and I'm afraid I'm gonna drop something. Ta-da! It is Pat McGrath Bijoux Brilliance 2023 holiday collection. You guys, here we have everything. This one was called Bijoux Brilliance Everything Kit, priced for 535 euros, placed on September 28th. Today is October 20th. I received this yesterday, and here's what happened. So they ended up refunding the shipping. As soon as this was out, I made a purchase and paid for the express shipping. A couple of days went by, 6 days, I don't even remember. They said that they are currently running around 5-day time frame for the order to be proceed and shipped. But since nothing happened, I reached out twice again to them, and I didn't even ask for the refund. They ended up giving me a refund for the shipping at the end. I'm like, I'm paying for express shipping, and this took like almost a month. Anyways, the day was shipped. It took only a couple of days to arrive, so I'm grateful for that. I just want to say that this whole experience was kind of anxious because I wanted to get this collection out as soon as possible. I'll have to say the customer service, whenever I would reach out to them, they would reply back. But why it took them so long to ship this? Honestly, I don't know. Let me know your experience, or if you have any other information. Usually I didn't have this issue. This was the first time. Finally, it's here. Let's talk about it. This is going to be a long video. Today's look that I've created, you guys, it's mix of all of the eyeshadows from all of these, not all of the palettes, but the eyeshadows that I wanted to incorporate for today's look. Also mascara, the face palette as well. I will do a dedicated video for each single palette. That's my intention. Hopefully I'll manage to do it because it is a lot. I'll put the timestamps so you can watch wherever you feel like. You can of course go throughout the whole video, or if you just want to skip to the tutorial or to the swatches, or I'm gonna show you now my first impressions. Just wanted to say that in general this is different than her mothership formula. We don't have any special shades in any of these palettes. My conclusion just for the first impressions is that I do prefer these queens, and for the price that they are, I think you're gonna get great value. Now the color story is different aspect depending on what do you prefer, and I think that we are all somehow most excited about Lunar Nightshade because this one definitely has different color story than any other, even though in this big mothership palette we do have like greens, but again we don't have any special shades in here. And the main difference and why I do prefer these ones, these are made in Italy. The quality of the eyeshadow is different, even though I'll say today I didn't have issues blending these eyeshadows, even though I was skeptical while doing swatches because some of them felt a little bit less in opacity, felt like they're gonna need to be built up, and also they felt a little bit dry, not creamy like what we have in original mothership palette. So the formulation is definitely different. I'm also gonna say that I did receive this Skin Fetish Divine Glow highlighter in Golden Moonlight as a gift, but this one already felt into my hand when I opened it. I don't know what happened with this one, but I do love this shade and undertone and everything. I also want to give you a quick recap of the two big mothership palettes. These are called Mothership Bijoux Brilliance. We have two of them in Starstruck Splendor and the Jewel Temptation, and I do have swatches and everything later for you. The eyeshadows are new. We have this 9-pan eyeshadow palette, and also we do have, let me just get this in a way. And we also do have two blushes. So each palette contains two blushes, one that is in existing line and the other one is new. I'm not the biggest fan of this packaging. The mirroring here I love. Besides that, this palette has magnets. This is unpractical, like you have to hold it while you are holding the palette. But it's hold really nicely, and it's this cardboard, which I don't like, so it feels a little bit cheaper. Now, the thing with these palettes, what happened with them was that they were made in USA from imported ingredients, and they were sent to Dominican Republic. That's with the eyeshadows. However, the blushes are made in Italy and then sent to the Dominican Republic, being assembled in Dominican Republic. But the thing is, with the shelf life, we are having 18 months for the blushes and 12 months for the eyeshadows, which I think it's unpractical for just for the reason, once I know my palette is expired, that's it. Now I have to think, okay, I still can use these blushes, I can't use the eyeshadows. It's kind of confusing. I generally just love to know, okay, this is expired. Bye-bye. Now, these quints are really practical, and they are made in Italy, having 12 months shelf life. I love the quality. I love the pigmentation, you guys. And she is having some beautiful, beautiful shades, even though we don't have special shades in here. Like, the pigment is real. Specifically talking about two shades that I've used today from the quints. I haven't used this one, but this is gorgeous, and I cannot wait to create a look with this one, just because of the undertones. They are a little bit different than usual warm undertones from Pat McGrath. Now, this shade right here, let me just, I know we're gonna get to the swatches, but I've used this today. Let me just show you. They swatch so nicely. They don't feel, they feel weird. They feel powdery, but still being shimmer. They have black base underneath, as I can tell, and they are super, super pigmented. Super pigmented. And the other one that I do have on my eyelid is from the big palette. Now, when it comes to this big palette, these are more like a duochrome. They're different, definitely different texture than the other one. So each of these palettes have one lighter, like a taupe, and then deeper with the black base, kind of a duochrome. At the moment, it feels like a multichrome, but I'll say it is duochrome with a black base. Now, one shade in particular that I do love is the first matte shade that I used today, and that is the Dawn Divinity. Oh my god, this shade is so, so gorgeous. Loving it. The palette that I've reached out the most today is this one. So this is Lunar Nightshade, and this one is that I would recommend the most when it comes to having your money's worth in terms of what you're getting in there. I have a feeling I'm gonna highly recommend this one as well, but I haven't tested on my eyes yet, so I won't talk about that later. Like I said, I will go in depth with each single one of these palettes. Now, also what I am having on my eyes, and this is stunning packaging, I am having Electric Jade mascara on my lower lash line, and it is gorgeous. It is gorgeous. I'm still not quite sure about the red one. We'll see. I'll do the swatches as well. Just the mascara, so you can see that. When it comes to face palettes, I did love the bronzers that I used. They are already existing bronzers, but when it comes to the highlight, I love the finish. I love the way how it looks. It doesn't emphasize your skin textures that much. I'll say it's really fine highlighter, but the thing is, the undertone is way more pinkish / rosy than I would like to, and it feels like, you'll see that in a swatch as well, but let me just show you. It feels like, let me see which one she used the most. It's like it's shifting. It's not just one highlighted color besides this one in the lightest palette, but when we switch to the last two palettes, yeah, it's definitely kind of a switching, like it's a duochrome, you know? So these palettes, big mothership palette, they retail for $76, which I think it's a fair price considering you do have two blushes. One thing that I would love to have is to have either one blush and one highlighter rather than just two blushes, especially for all of you that are already having her blushes. Now, the quints are $36, which I think it's more than a fair price considering the brand and the quality and everything, which I think that for this price you're gonna get really great quality and use out of it. Now, this Divine Blush and Bronze Plus Glow Trio, it is going to cost you $52, but also if you have different bundles on her website, so if you choose different bundles, you can have this even for a cheaper price. So when you divide 3 products, again, the fact that it is the brand, you're gonna get pretty good price for what it is. Mascaras are $34, which I thought, oh my god, that is a lot for a mascara. But I think half of the price just goes for the packaging. Like, this is really heavy and really luxurious outside, and the actual packaging. So in a way it makes sense why it's so expensive. And these mascaras, they do have only 6 months shelf life, and these are also made in Italy. Also made in Italy. Anyways, you guys, let's go and see everything from the first impressions when I open this package to the swatches of the whole collection. And I'll see you at the end with my final thoughts. My package just arrived and it is pretty heavy. Barely can even hold it with one hand. Wow. Are you ready? And so it's really nicely packed with third packaging. Hopefully nothing didn't break. This was supposed to come tomorrow, but thank God it came today. So I'll say that the delivery was actually super fast once it was shipped. And here it is in all of its glory. They also gave me extra this Divine Glow highlighter. I haven't tried this one yet, so looking forward to probably try it. So what do we have in here? Like I said, this is extra. So for all of the queens, packaging is color coded. These are 3 cheek palettes. We have, I think, like for lighter, medium, and deep skin tone palettes. With the blush, highlighter, and the bronzer. We have 3 mascaras. Oh, these are heavy actually. Wait. Let me just check if the packaging is like, this is beautiful. Like a glass packaging from the primer. And I was thinking, why is it so expensive? This is gorgeous. You know what? I don't even know which color I grabbed, but let me check it out. Of course, it's the red one. I'm more excited about the other 2, but we'll see. And one thing I'll say kind of most intrigued by is these 2 new palettes. And here it is, you guys, the whole Bijoux collection. Mega palettes to the mascaras, face palettes, and queens. So first of all, we have 2 motherships. So this is Jewel Temptation and this one is Starstruck Splendor. To be honest, I forgot which one is which. This is how packaging looks like. Not super fancy like the original motherships, but in promo photos, I didn't like just the idea of the packaging and this not sharp edges. And now when I think about it, yeah, in the packaging we do have, can you see that we have, it's kind of a little bit wrinkly. I'm gonna go and open the first packet. Wow, this shade right here looks so much purple on camera than it is in person. Oh yeah, it shifts. Kind of a lavender, purple, green. Yeah, it's some kind of a multi-chrome. Not even a duochrome, I would say, like this. Look how it shifts. And the blushes, first of all, the blushes are much more toned down than I thought they will, and they look stunning. You know what? Now looking at it, I do love this color story even more than on a promo photos, you guys. I'm really excited about this shade right here. Palette that I'm most excited about, which is Starstruck Splendor. So the difference that we're having here is the color story, but everything else about the packaging is the same. And I'll just say one thing that I don't like is that stripes, which are not practical. Oh, how do I open this one? Oh, sorry, is this a magnet? Yeah, this is definitely a magnet. That's a plus. Loving this one. Can you guys see this strong shift that it has? Okay, let me check the blushes. I'm happy to see that they are a bit toned down than on the pictures. Yeah, sometimes those swatches and everything can be deceiving, especially because they are so filtered. But, oh, this green, that green, can't wait to create. Look at this, you guys. I'm so excited because my first look will be something that will combine out of all of these palettes. If you are holding it like this, it's fine. But as soon as you do this, yeah. So I wish it has like a resistance, you know? So you have to be really careful. And this is magnet, which is good. And this is pretty heavy, being the big size mirroring here. Oh, I love this muted tone as well. This is gonna go so well with the greens, beautifully. Next, you guys, we have 4 eyeshadow queens. These are 5-pan eyeshadow palettes, and I want to start with the one that intrigued me the most, and that is Lunar Nightshade. These are really practical for the travel as well, since these have so much less weight compared to, like, look at this. Like when you compare them side to side, look at the difference. So the principle is the same. They have magnets and they open like this. This is gorgeous. We have one matte, like this deep plummy undertone. Then we have really light champagne color, and then we have this mixture between greens and blues. Beautiful, because this one, even though leans more like a turquoise green, it does have like a light blue shift in it. If the camera can catch this. We're having not the best weather at the moment, and maybe the exposure is changing because I'm filming just on a daylight, but I'll say you can guys see even better like this than on a artificial light. Anyways, I think this is gonna be definitely one of my first eyeshadows to use. Now let's switch to second of these that I thought that will be most exciting for me, and that is this guy right here, which is Bronze Ecstasy. Usually I do love play with the colors, but for whatever reason, this one looked gorgeous on the promo photos. I think this one is a little bit more warmer than the last one. This one, I thought for a second, wait, it's looking really similar to the last one, but it's not. It's deeper and it's more cool toned, more kind of a brownish burgundy mixture. Wait, my God, it's like it shifts from brown to burgundy. I don't know. This one, however, is the most exciting for me because the undertone is wow. Can you see this one on the sun? How it reflects? In this palette, you're gonna get 2 mattes, and then you're gonna have 3 shimmers, or kind of a metallic shimmers. This one is differently pressed than these two, so I'm interested to see finish of this one. Next, which one should I open next? This one. So the next one will be Bordeaux Bliss. For now, I'll say I'm the least interested in this one, just mainly because of the color story, but I can see that in this one, we do have really interesting shade. This is really interesting shifting. Sorry, not shifting, but it does have like a glitters in it. It's not shifting like the one in the mothership. So this palette has mainly like a glitters within this 5-pan. This one, however, it's not fully matte, but it's leaning towards being a matte, but it does have like a little specks inside. Again, not too crazy about this one, but before I test it, I do not want to do any conclusion. The darkest shade from this one is the most interesting to me. And the last one, now when this is the favorite one. Oh, we'll see. So this one is Sunset Romance. I think out of them all, I think I prefer this one the least. Yeah, definitely not too crazy about this one. Do love of this pop of these like champagne yellowish shimmer. Again, you're gonna get 2 mattes in this palette, and you're gonna get like 2 shimmers, and then this one does have like a little specks, like a little glitters inside. And now let's open the face palette, and I will start from the lightest to the darkest one. The first palette will be the lightest one, which is Fleur Nude Face Palette, if I pronounced that again correctly, I'm not sure. Again, we have the same design of the packaging. It's packaged like this. And again, it has those edges in here. So this is how it looks like. I love the neutralness of this bronzer. This is an existing bronzer, and this highlight, I think it's new. Also the blush, I'm not sure. I will check everything before we swatch. Next is Nirvana in Bloom. This is how it looks like. I do love the neutralness of the blush of the bronzer as well. I don't have any bronzer from her, so I'm really excited to try that. This one leans a lot like a kind of a pinkish, but then at the same time I can see that it shifts. It does transforms its shade, yeah, from really pink to more iridescent color. So this is how the second one looks like. Supernova Serene. Oh my god, you guys, this blush, this blush, this is gorgeous. Wow, what a shade. Okay, I didn't see anything else. I'm just looking at the blush. I can't wait to try this one. The undertone, the color, the depth, I know it is a really deep color, but can't wait to try this one. We have kind of the same highlight as from the second palette, but this one of course being a bit deeper. Now for the mascaras, we have 3 mascaras, and I'm gonna start with, I already opened the red one, so I just want to see first. I want to see where I'm looking outside of the packaging. It's just the name, so I don't know which one's which. Come on. So this one is called Jade, Electric Jade. Actually, my husband, he loves to watch the show. What is it called? It's Jade Fever, or Jade Fever, as he pronounced it. So this is how mascara looks like. This is the more like a green one. And then we have another interesting one. You know what? I wish this was a bit more like a bit more vibrant shade than it is. So it is definitely this one. The packaging is heavy, like I said, and I love all of the details on the packaging, you guys. Look at it. Wow. And these have 6 months shelf life. Ooh, so this one is really, really bright. Really, really bright. Now I'm thinking, should I mix 2 of those when I do certain look? Who knows what I'm gonna get? Yeah. In a way, I wish we have something in between when it comes to color, but again, we'll have to try it. But I know for a fact this would look so gorgeous when it is opposite. For example, if I'm doing a red look and then I can use pop of the color with the mascara, the opposite color that I'm going to use, that would be great. And it will stand out so much. Or this is great, like even the other day my sister was wearing vibrant blue mascara and it looked gorgeous on her, just mascara only. Next one that we have is this red mascara. Honestly, at the moment, I'm not sure if I love this or what. Not too excited, but we'll see what we can do with this. Maybe I can do like a rainbow with all of the mascaras. And last but not least was the gift that they gave with all of the purchase. You open it like this. No, I hope it didn't break. Please don't tell me you are broken. I don't know what happened in here, but this is how it came. You know what? I'll just clean the edges. This is her Skin Fetish Divine Glow Highlighter in Golden Moonlight. But this is what happened. It fell off the box. Isn't that great? Yeah, I just pressed it back in. Unfortunately, yeah, this one, I'm afraid eventually it's gonna just break. But I feel like something's wrong with the packaging, to be honest. And I was about to say this is my favorite type of the packaging, especially when it comes to motherships, like they are heavy packaging, but I do love them. Yeah. So anyways, that's it. And here we are with the first big palette. Let's swatch this one. This is Mcgrath Bijoux Brilliance Star Trek Splendor. Now this palette contains 9 eyeshadows and 2 blushes. One of the blushes is existing and that is Nymphet. When it comes to eyeshadows, these are all new as far as I know. Let's go and start with the eyeshadows. So this is the first eyeshadow. Ooh. So I'm gonna swatch first row. You know what? The eyeshadow, the matte eyeshadow, feels a little bit drier, I think, than usual. Like her mattes are usually creamier, if I'm right. But anyways, here is Opalescent Moonstone. Ooh, this one is beautiful. It shifts really nicely. Then we have Dawn Divinity. Beautiful shade, swatched a little bit sheer. And now we have Eternal Bronze. This is kind of a classic bronzy Pat McGrath shade. Now we have Forever Nude, Fawn Fantasia, and Serene Sienna. And now the row that I'm most excited about, this is Celestial Caledon, Mythic Majesty, Emerald Eclipse. This one has like a black base underneath and is really pigmented, different than this minty shade. I will definitely incorporate these two, and also these first two shades are much, I'm really interested in those. Everything in the middle, it feels like Pat McGrath shade, but I'm gonna tell you I'm really skeptical at the moment just because of the way they feel, the way they swatch, but we will see. Except for these shimmers, I think they really do glide really nicely. Now for the blushes, this one is Nymphet. This is really, really beautiful, beautiful shade. This one is much more vibrant, and I don't know if I'm gonna love this one. See, the thing is with this second shade that it is super vibrant. I'm not sure how this will look on a deeper skin tone. So Nymphet, which is existing shade, and Coral Cosmos, which is new shade. And for the blushes, we will see how they will build up. This one is much more brighter, and this one I believe would look really, really beautiful on my skin tone. But this one also complements the rest of the palette, especially these greens. That's what I believe she put this undertone in this palette. It makes sense. And so here we go, guys, all 9 shades and 2 blushes from Starstruck Splendor. Now let's take a look at the other Mothership Bijoux Brilliance palette. This one is called Jewel Temptation, also having 9 eyeshadows and 2 blushes, one of them being existing, and everything else is new. Let's watch first row. Coral Nectar, Amber Aura. This matte felt a little bit more creamier, and Star Garnet. She did put like a duochrome in each palette. So this is second row, and this gold is stunning, and this burgundy, oh my god, this is beautiful. Daring Desire, Midas Mystique, Midnight Sherry. I gotta say, this is pretty beautiful combo, these 2 shades. So this is the last row. Smoldering Bronze, Blooming Sienna, Amethyst Noir. I gotta say, I am pretty surprised with this last shade. So creamy, has black base underneath, and it shifts so beautifully. And now for the blushes. See, I have to hold this, otherwise this would fall. So we have Desert Amber, which is a new shade, and Paradise Venus, which this is beautiful. This is her existing shade. So in each palette we do have like kind of a brighter and then deeper shades. So the new shades are pretty much more vibrant, the new one, but I have to say I do prefer, at least in the swatches, the old one. And now take a look at the whole palette. But you know what, let me just swatch these 2 from each palette with the black base. I'm definitely gonna use these. This is like a really strong duochrome with the black base, I think. And you know what is good? These feel so creamy, and I don't think they're gonna emphasize the texture of the skin, so that is big plus. Now we're gonna go and swatch all of the 5 quints, and the first will be Lunar Nightshade. Now these eyeshadows were made in Italy, and they do have 12 months shelf life. So this first one, it feels like a kind of a highlighter. It is super creamy. This matte feels a little bit less drier, and this one also feels ultra creamy. Wow, this is beautiful. So here you have, guys, first 3 shades. Let's watch them. Platinum Moonlight. This one looks and feels like a highlighter. Then we have Midnight Iris. Wow, such a beautiful shade. Wow. This one is a little bit more kind of a foiled, like a metallic shade. And you really do have to press it in. So that was Pale Amethyst. And now let's swatch the last 2. Noir Nebula and Neptunian Orchid. This is all 5 of them swatched, and these 2 will work so good together. And this one as a kind of a transition, wow, this is gonna look gorgeous. And this is, I believe, I think this is my favorite color story from these 5. eyeshadow pen, queens. Now another one that I was really excited about, Bronze Ecstasy, because I think this bronze story, it really has a bit of a twist in a color story, which I am really excited about. So let's go and swatch. Starlit Champagne, Merlot Mystique, Honey Nectar. You know what? I definitely prefer this formula. Look how shiny this is. And now for the last two, Twilight Taupe and Haunted Bronze. What? I love color, but this is my favorite shade from the collection that I swatched so far. What is this? Can you see this? Shift. Wow, this is beautiful. Now this eyeshadow palette has all shimmers, and this one is kind of leaning more matte than it is shimmery. But let's just swatch it and see what is going on. This is Bordeaux Bliss. So we have Platinum Rose Water. I'm not super impressed with this undertone, honestly. This is gorgeous. Ruby Noir, gorgeous. And then we have Naked Sunset. You know what? Let me just swatch this one once again. So pigmented. Now last two are Movie Mystique, Cosmic Garnet. But again, this one looks like it is matte, but it's not. It does have small specks inside. Just for the reference, this is all shimmery palette, just so you know, if that's a deciding factor for you to buy this palette or not. And so here it is, Bordeaux Bliss eyeshadow palette. Now the last one from the queens is Sunset Romance. We do have 2 mattes and 3 shimmers. So let's check them out. First one is Glowing Desire. Then we have Suede Sienna and Mink Mirage. I'll say these mattes feel way better than in these motherships. I feel like swatching these, the formulation is way better, but we will see how they will apply once we blend them. So these were Sun-Kissed Rose and Petalic Passion. And this is how Sunset Romance looks like. It feels like a typical Pat McGrath color story, right? Now let's check all 3 of face palettes. These ones are made in Italy and have 18 months shelf life. So here they are, all 3 of them side by side. Let's swatch first one, Forever Nude. First we have bronzer, which is from her existing line. Then we have blush, which is called Naked Peony. And then we have Opal Allure, which is this highlighter. Let's swatch them. I love the depth and the undertone of this bronzer. This blush, I don't know, it feels like a little bit too pinkish. And this is highlighter. So in a palette, it looked a little bit more cool toned. But then when you swatch it, you can see the reflection that it does have rosy, peachy reflex in it. Now this is Nirvana in Bloom, and this is more suitable for a mid skin tone. We have Bronze Nirvana bronzer, Sunset Bloom blush, and Lotus Nectar highlighter. You can also see the reflex of this highlighter. It's almost like it's a duochrome. I don't know, this feels too dark, even for the mid skin tone. Like, I did love the blush though. I really think, let me watch it again. I really think that the undertone is really beautiful. And now we have Supernova Siren. Midnight Airhead is the blush that I'm most excited about. Can't wait to try this one. We have Burnished Honey bronzer, Midnight Airhead blush, Solar Fantasy highlighter. I'm not super impressed with the highlighter, but we'll see how it will apply on the skin. Maybe it's just a swatch, we'll see. And now for the mascaras, you guys. The packaging is gorgeous, gorgeous packaging. Look at all of these details. So these mascaras have 6 months shelf life, made in Italy. So this is Dark Star mascara, and here is the look. This is the color. This is really, really bright blue. We'll see how this one will apply on the eyes. Next we have Electric Jade. This is how the color looks like. Renegade Red. And here they are, all 3 shades. Usually when I start creating eye makeup look, I do outline, or in this case I did apply an eyeliner, and I will just show you the other portion of the liner, how I've done it. I already have the inner corner done. If you want to skip this part, that's totally fine. I did use Inglott's AMC Gel Eyeliner in number 77. This is my favorite product. Here I placed a little dot that will help me to see where my liner will stop at the end and what is the height of the liner. I'm slowly starting to fill in this kind of a gap where my eye on the other portion starts to kind of a drop. So I fill that in, and I also applied this liner in my upper waterline as well. And this really helps to enhance your eye look. First, I'm starting off by using Pat McGrath Intensive Eyes Eyeshadow Primer. I already do have my base on my eyes. What I did was a combination of a concealer and the foundation, just to get rid of any imperfections and also to make my eyebrows shaped. So I'm just going to tap this base. I'm not going to like literally blend it in. I prefer tapping this type of a base. As I said, I'm gonna go in with the couple of eyeshadow palettes, and first I'm gonna grab this Lunar Nightshade eyeshadow palette, and first I'm gonna go with the shade Pale Amethyst. I'm gonna grab, probably can go with a different brush. I'm gonna grab small flat brush. So one thing that I would do if she has, but what I realized in none of these palettes that I have, she doesn't have any light matte shade. So instead, I'm going with a shimmer. This one is not too light, but the reason why I'm using this is because it will combine, hopefully it will combine beautifully with the next shade we're gonna use. This one goes right underneath my brow bone. Like I said, this one is a little bit more like a skin tone. It's not light, but I will use different lighter shade later, and my inklet is transferring. And the reason for this is because this base didn't dry yet. Oh, that's fine, it's not transferring anymore. You know what? This one feels more like a topper, honestly. I'm gonna grab smaller brush, but I feel like I need a fixing spray for this to be brush to be damped when I'm using this. But it's gorgeous shade. Wow. Yeah, such a beautiful shade. I will add up a lighter shade later, but this one is just kind of being able to blend with the rest. What I'm gonna do. Now I'm gonna go in with the Starstruck Splendor palette, and I'm gonna use this shade right here, Dawn Divinity, and I will start by applying this one right underneath the previous one. Again, it's a bit weird. If I can use anything else, I would love to use this shade combined with other matte lighter eyeshadow, but the one that I was trying to pick up from all of these palettes, this one, which makes sense that it's in this palette, is the only one that could go with it, but I didn't like the, let's just put it this way, it's not necessary because they are kind of too close, even though the other one is lighter, to make a mixture. Yeah, I didn't want to do that. For the outer portion, I wanna follow what I already have with my liner, so that's kind of my guideline when it comes to this. Now I took same shade with a smaller brush, and this is not the depth that I would usually use for this part right here. This is a little bit, if you're asking me, a little bit too dark. I would love to have a lighter shade. Now I will take my time and blend this onto the skin as much as I can. I'm using same brush. I'm not adding any more eyeshadow so far. I love this shade. This shade is so gorgeous. So I'm kind of doing crease right here. One good thing about this is that this palette has big sized mirror, and it's really convenient. I love this for travel, but the only bad thing is what I said. It does have nothing to hold on to. You have to hold it literally, like either it's gonna be positioned like this or you have to hold it here. Honestly, I was kind of worried how this will perform because on the swatches, I wasn't super impressed, neither with the texture when I tried it or on the shadow performance. But again, the ultimate test is on the eyes. They felt a little bit drier. Now I'm still working with the same shade, and see how right here it's a little bit darker, so I will add a little bit more just to have more cohesive depth And also I do want to have full pigmentation of each eyeshadow. That is really important. Whenever you're layering each eyeshadow, you need to have full opacity of the previous one. Otherwise, most likely you're gonna end up with the eyeshadow patches. Also wanted to say, don't worry if the eyeshadow erases your liner, because later we will repeat this liner. That's for sure. Now, what was the next shade that I'm gonna use? So going back to the Lunar Nightshade, and Midnight Iris will be the shade that I'm gonna be using. And this shade will go underneath the previous one. Now, when I swatched both Motherships and Quints, I did prefer the formulation from the Quints. That formulation was made in Italy. Well, the mattes felt a bit more creamier than in these large palettes. But again, so far, I'm not having issues blending it. But still, I do prefer these ones. I will also repeat this shade, but also I need to be careful to not erase previous color. So this one just will blend in towards previous one. And also repeating it a little bit on the other edge as well. Now I'm gonna go in with a different Mothership palette, and I'm gonna use Midnight Cherry from the Jewel Temptation palette. And this one will go even less than the previous one. So I am applying each shade a little bit less than the previous one because it's darker. And I'll say this one has strong opacity. Just gonna take a clean brush, just blend everything a little bit more. You know what, I'm gonna apply next shade just to see where I am at. But before that, I wanna go with the same shade right here, but just tiny bit. I do wanna incorporate all of the colors that I have in here as well. Next, I'm gonna go in with the Bordeaux Bliss palette, and I'm gonna go in with Ruby Noir shade. This one is really dark. It has that black base underneath. But one thing that I'm going to do, definitely I have to damp my brush. Took a little bit of excess, and on top of my liner, I'm gonna follow the direction of my liner. I will smudge this color. This is gonna go gorgeous with the eyeliner, with the previous shades, and it will just enhance this whole look. Will go next level just with this shade. Beautiful. And now it's easier to follow the direction because we already have our liner. This is such a pigmented dark color. Wow. I did apply some contact lenses, and these are from a brand called Miss Lens, because I did think that this particular color story will complement green eyes so well. That being said, it looks really nice on the brown eyes as well, but I do prefer this one. Let's move on. I will put a little bit fixing spray on my brush, and I will go back in the Lunar Nightshade and will apply Platinum Moonlight underneath my eyebrow, but just tiny bit, and I want to connect that to the previous shade, whatever it is that we have. The combination of these two shimmers, it's so gorgeous. Now for the most of my eyelid, I will use Amethyst Noir shade from the Jewel Temptation. And before that, I am going in with the NYX Glitter Primer. I just want to enhance wherever that shade is going to be. For that, I'm gonna use a flat brush, and also I will try to apply it equally. And this one will go with my finger first, and will of course spray a little bit. And this one goes really nicely with the rest of the makeup. And also, like I said in my initial videos, this one does not emphasize the texture that much. Actually, not even close like her other. Wait, I do have one for multichrome from Waristic Vixen, and that one emphasizes skin texture so much. Like, the shifting is beautiful, but I do prefer this. Now with a smaller brush, I will connect this one to everything else. And now for the inner corner, what we are going to do, I'm going back to this palette right here, and I tend to lose this one. I tend to use this one a lot today. And this one will connect with the previous one. That is beautiful, you guys. Can you see the shifting? It's gorgeous. Right now, I'm just going to reapply my liner. with the same Inglot gel that I already used. Now I will apply some concealer. I just want to clean everything underneath my liner and make it really sharp. I also want to mention that I did not have a lot of fallout, almost none, which is good. You know what, this looks stunning on its own, even if I don't apply lower lash line, but since I want to test and apply some more colors, I will go for it. So now I will apply a little bit of concealer as my base, and I will go in with the Pat McGrath primer as well, which, by the way, I think I forgot to apply on this side for my lower lash line, because I definitely applied the one for the eyelid. Now I wanted to experiment with a little bit different shade, and I am going in with the Lunar Night shade Midnight Iris, Noir Nebula, and I am applying that one on my bullet brush. And now I want to smudge that color, so I'm gonna use this shade right here, Dawn Divinity, and we'll apply this one underneath that shade. This is such a gorgeous, unusual undertone of the matte. Loving that one. Now to add some depth, I am going back with this color, Ruby Noir. The texture feels weird, kind of a chunky, but the pigment is real, so just on the edge. Now to deepen up a little bit everything even more, I'm using this shade right here, Midnight Iris. So for the most part, I am going back with the shades that I already used. You know what, leaving this like this, being matte, it looks so beautiful as well. But I'm going to use the shimmers. So just realized today, this is the palette that I'm actually most excited about, mainly because the undertones in this one, it is something a bit different from Pat McGrath, and it really is exciting to have these undertones and shades. Finally, you know, something different with a pop of green emerald shade. What I'm going to do now is to apply some lashes, and I will come back for the application of the face palette. So I'll be back in a second. Now let's dive into the face palette. Now I got a little bit kind of confused while swatching these blushes, just because I felt like neither one of these 3 blushes or extra 4 over there was suiting, swatch-wise was suiting my makeup look. So what I did decided is to take the Paradise Venus blush first, because I think because of the color story will match the best, and also we do have purples in here, so I know for a fact that this will go together. But first I want to start with a bronzer. I love the undertone, the lightest palette, but let me go with the second one, which is Nirvana in Bloom, and I will use that bronzer. Now you definitely need to build it up, which is good. We don't want to kind of a patchy bronzer underneath. And just for the reference, and then it makes it a little bit more difficult, I did not set my base. That is beautiful. For a lighter medium skin tone, Lotus Nectar will work just fine. It's beautiful, and I'm guessing you can build it up even more, which I'm not gonna do at the moment. And because today I am doing one cohesive look, I am not gonna go in creating 2 different blush and bronzer and highlight looks. I will just use one particular. Anyways, I wanna go in with a blush, and for that, I'm gonna go in this one, just because I feel that it will suit today's look the best. But definitely go and check in a while when I will apply all of these face palettes. What is this? Oh, and usually when I do apply blush, I do love to apply blush that is liquid first and then go with the powder. But I haven't done that today. I just had my foundation and I think this one is a bit deep. I will take clean brush and just spread this. Take the excess a little bit off. I feel like I need something much more neutral, as if because of the eyes, now I want to just leave just a bronzer here. But I am gonna go in with the Sunset Bloom shade on this side. First, I can always match that later. It'll take me a while, but it's not just about the blush. It's about how it will appear based on everything else you are wearing on your face. And now on top of everything, I do want to go a little bit with the Mcgrath. I just wanted to see how the finish will look like. I'm guessing it's just the first impressions and testing everything. Yeah, I'm gonna go with a Sunset Bloom shade because I prefer the one. I do prefer Mcgrath and then Sunset Bloom because the combination is better. But Mcgrath is definitely suiting the best. My conclusion is I should go with the Mcgrath for today's look. Would avoid everything else. This whole process. So let's go with the highlighter. I am honestly a little bit skeptical about it just because of the reflecting and an undertone. I'm gonna go in with Nude Honey. But let me just compare this one to, let me just show you. Now this is the one that I sent, but can you see how cooler tone this one is compared to these ones in a pan? Like if you have her kind of original highlighters. So this is in Golden Moonlight, but just for example, if you have that one, just see what the difference is. And for me, it's questionable. This even like looks like a highlighter, looks like a eyeshadow before a highlighter. Well, it's a demo, so I'll have to bear with it. I am going in. Oh, so the brush is picking up quite a bit of a product. I'm just gonna take the excess off so that I don't almost have nothing on my brush. And let's just see. Now when I think about it, you know what I would love? For these palettes to have one blush and one highlighter instead. Not the bronzer, but the highlight and the blush. Will make sense as well. Okay, I'm not mad at it. I'm gonna again take the excess off. But yeah, same thing happens whenever I use different brush as well. So the point is to take the excess off. And if I build it up just a tiny bit and you really need a little bit of a product, this is where you're gonna get. And then when you build it up a little bit, this is what you're gonna get. It definitely reflects. It's not emphasizing skin texture that much. It soaks in a little bit in your skin. It's not just that it's sitting on top. That is good. The undertone is definitely not my favorite. Kind of a confused why she did this undertone, to be honest. I can only imagine the other two. I am having a lighter skin for those two palettes, but still you can see with this one what you can expect with the other two as well then. Yeah, it's definitely strong, reflective. Anyways, I want to do a little bit of contour for the nose, and that is going to be this Opal Allure shade from the lightest palette. I should have done this before my highlight. Now for the mascaras, I cannot believe how heavy they are. I am gonna go in with Electric Jade, but the thing is I'm not used to these bulky brushes. Let me just compare to show you what I do on my lower lash line. It's funny. So this is the difference in the brushes. But you know what, let me just try. Because it kind of collects in the beginning. Come on. This is fun. Just for a test purposes, I want to see what do I get. And I will apply one layer and then maybe even reapply. You know what? I love this. It goes so beautiful with the purple. Let me just wait a second for it to dry. Maybe, yeah, maybe I'll just do a like a short, literally short video and just showing the 3 mascaras in a video, just applying them. Because obviously you cannot see full impact when I'm having all of these eyeshadows in the background of my eye. This is beautiful, I'm loving this. Now I'm curious if I want to try a blue one, but I'm not gonna experiment. That's it, you guys. I'm gonna finish off my lips and finish my hair and everything, and I will be right back with you. This has been a bit longer video than usual. We have a lot to cover. I will definitely keep you posted with everything. If you are interested in any particular item, of this collection. I will make sure to make a playlist where you can watch every single palette, and I will try to get the most that I can out of it, using it with a different techniques. So stay tuned for that. Also, we'll try to apply all of the face palettes on my face, and yeah, it's gonna be a long, exciting week. Let me know your thoughts when it comes to this collection. What are your thoughts? We're gonna dive in even more within the next week. If you're enjoying this type of content, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and make sure to hit the notification bell so you can be notified every time I do upload a video. Thank you guys so much for hanging out today with me, and I will see you really soon in my next one. Thank you. Bye.